It does look like the players are getting ready to play. I just want to point out while we have the board, these are the pawns that I'm worried about. The F2 and F7 pawns undefended. White with a knight can jump, and already go pawn hunting within 3 moves. Just to mention that...
In with a fork.
Yeah, in with a fork, and maybe a smothered checkmate with the black king, nowhere to go. But just to mention, Fabiano wants to play this move. I think he's instructed Tony to play this move, and Grant in return was given this move by Judith, but that is the wrong move in this scenario because the white queen is perched in the corner, ready to snipe this pawn.
Yeah, I wonder what the idea is there. Maybe then, I mean, you either have to bring the knight or the bishop out to defend, but even still, just right out the gate, you're willing to toss away a pawn?
Yeah, I think it's because Judith wasn't expecting this one move, and this is the only move that their intended reply would not work against.
And something early to note, body language, Grant Williams was the only player standing up to shake the opponent's hand. Tony Snell said, hey, I don't want any of that. He's seated in his seat. He's locked in. Grant says, okay, he's gonna store that in his memory bank. This guy's a competitive guy.
All right, here we go. A reminder to everybody at home, we are playing a 10-minute plus 0 increments, so you don't gain any time back on that clock per move made. So you're working with just the 10 minutes that you start the game with. Trying not to get into time trouble and still navigate towards a victory. It's single elimination. You got to get it done here. Unless you find your way to a draw, then we go into some tiebreak scenarios.
And you predicted it accurately. That pawn up to G3 on the first move for T-Fob, as Danny referred to them as.
Snelluana, I'm going to call them.
Snelluana. Okay, I'm sticking with T-Fab, especially if I have to say that to their faces at some point. But how about that? Because it did follow those initial moves you talked about, but the Fabiano, of all people, elected not to go for the pawn, because it would have been him who responded with pawn as opposed to saying queen.
Yeah, Grant did a great thing. He pushed his pawn forward first before planting the other pawn in the center. So he's built what we call the triangle, or sometimes the pyramid. The pawns control all the light squares. Bad news is that the black light square bishop is blocked. Big pawn itself behind that chain. But yeah, very, very logical start to the game by both sides. And in the meantime, it is, yeah, Tony the first to think.
Yeah, first to think. I like this, bringing the bishop out, just creating threats on the board.
Would you not, if you were white, wanted to move that bishop a little bit further, kind of out to G5 in that spot right there, as opposed to stopping one square short?
Yeah, that would be a very sophisticated move, actually, and it looks like it just loses a bit of time, because after a bishop check, for example, now the black pawn can step forward and push, but if you then retreat the bishop, which he could have done earlier with a save of a move, then the black queen is even more trapped in the corner. It can never come out on this diagonal, so I actually really like that idea.
Yeah, it's what we would, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'd call an inducing move, right? By bringing that bishop out first, you're inducing the pawn move, which actually might be disadvantageous for your opponent, and then you slide it back to your intended square. So great find, my friend.
And
oh, the queen is exposed in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, I got too excited.
Just to back up your point, Jonah, like the black queen was actually attacking a pawn, so that inducing move did happen, just in another another way. So just fantastic play again. This game so high quality already.
Did I miss something there though on White's last move? Was there not a fork between the king and the queen? Am I just completely missing a retake?
We'll just do a quick action replay of the last few moves. So here, black struck with a pawn move. We saw an exclamation point appear. That means it's one of the best moves in the position. Queen attacking the pawn. The white bishop threw itself in the way, attacking that black queen, inducing that block. And after a trade...
Why can't I take that pawn with the bishop?
Yeah.
And fork the king and the queen?
This one.
Yeah,
it is protected by the queen.
Oh, just by... And this is why I'm not the expert on the broadcast.
You're getting that, James.
I was in the same camp as you, James.
No, I would have thrown the game there, because the call would have been bishop, and I would have gone for that fork as opposed for picking up the knight. So
would have lost my bishop there.
I would have fallen out of the tournament right then and there. Good thing it's not me on that stage.
And yeah, I mean, that's the impressive thing about both Tony and Grant here. They're just, I mean, no tactical blunders at all. They're seeing things. They're playing these nuanced, sophisticated, inducing moves. It
makes you wonder what you're doing with your life when these guys are NBA superstars and also better than you at chess, you know? Where do they find the time? Where do they find the time?
Yeah, that's a really merry thought, James.
I'm sorry to put you in that dark place right now.
I was feeling great about myself. Now you retreated me back into a dark pit. I'm curious about this double stack with the bishops, where basically one is just for show behind. It's in a logjam with the two pawns. Only that top at D6 seems to have some exit strategy here. Do you like that double stack with the bishops?
Yeah, I really like it, and especially this one you just highlighted, Jonah, because it can go in either direction later. It's not even about the bishops moving. Bishops are great controlling pieces. They control squares, they control the court, and in the meantime, he's trying to go for the white king. We see opposite side castling, so look at how the white king is fixed on the right half of the board now. The black king is fixed on the left half of the board. That means both sides have license to throw their whole armies towards each other's monarchs there.
This is really tricky position here. So much tension between all of those pawns in the center of the board, and there was a choice of which direction Tony Snell wanted to capture with that initial pawn capture. He goes to the right, Judith responds instantaneously, pawn takes back, nice easy find, but now that knight is jumping forward, wants to solidify kind of a forward position, but it's still targeted and maybe traded off here soon.
And both teams pretty even with their time controls right now, only about a 25-second differential, so operating the clock really effectively as well.
Yeah, and they've been doing that throughout the event so far. Very impressive clock handling. They know the critical moments are ahead. It's always towards the end of the game these are decided. I just want to point out one problem piece. The white queen, she's trapped. She has not entered this game. It's the most valuable piece, the most important piece. And unless that white queen gets out into the action, you're essentially playing down 9 points here, which is not a great sign necessarily for Snell and Caruana here.
And obviously the queen is the more powerful piece in this picture, but also that black knight over on the left-hand side has no real good way to get involved with the game either, right? It's two options for jumping forward. Okay, they're going to reroute, and this is where we're going to see it. It's going to take some time for the knight to get truly involved, but it's got to retreat first and then reroute elsewhere.
And I'm loving this board side view that we have going on. Rarely do you get that in the NBA. Sometimes you get it underneath the free throw, underneath the basket for free throws, right? But in chess, you really feel like you're part of the game right here. It's almost like Harry Potter, and you're seeing those large size.
You are the king.
pieces.
Right now, you are the black king, staring at the army.
What a view that was,
heading towards you.
POV chess.
Yeah, you're looking at Grant Williams is coming for you.
And in the meantime, the black knight, which was the problem piece, improved itself. The white queen, which was trapped, improved itself. Just, again, it's so hard to separate these teams. They're just, I think the two standout teams, they deserve to be in the final, of course, but they're showing why. And phenomenal chess so far. The trades have begun. The position's starting to level out.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, I think that was a mistake from white. Why was that rook moved when it had no protection? There was no safety net there.
Yeah. Great.
I like that call because to me it also sacrifices control of that file, right? We always look at open files where there's no obstruction, and that essentially allowed the black rook to slide over and now control the file that white was previously holding.
Yeah, now the white rook cannot challenge. The white rook is a bit of a bystander while the black rook is in full control. And ooh, in the meantime, it's I was going to say a big blunder. It's not. I thought the white bishop would come out and skewer the black queen and king. Look at how they're on the diagonal, but the black knight jumps in the way.
Computer still overall liked the last couple of moves for white, though. You can see that evaluation slid back up in the opposite direction, and now just ever so slightly favors Snell and Caruana. Not by a great margin, though.
Yeah. Now, I got to be honest, that knight right now is looking like a triple government bond right here. That is triple protected right here. You see that knight protecting the queen. The rook is there as kind of the double bond. This is a triple bond right here.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a very strong structure in the sense that everything's kind of held together right now, but it also means that really none of those pieces can move easily because they are all working in concert together, right? So eventually unlocking that knight again is going to be difficult. First, we got to get the queen out of the way, right? So there's a lot of time that it's going to take to activate the black pieces again, where maybe white feels like now I've got the initiative to really go for the attack.
David, do you think about moving the queen along the diagonal to h5 to apply a little bit more pressure?
Oh! Get him out there! Get him on the stage!
What are you guys doing in here with me? You should be playing.
I just graduated from advanced
at the Chesstival after party tonight. We'll have to get Jonah on a chessboard. I want to see this guy playing.
And again, I can confirm that was one of the top two moves according to our computer, our all-seeing engine here, which knows everything, and big trouble potentially for black, because this black rook now is a target. The white queen and kind of x-ray here, the white rook are targeting that piece. The black knight is the only thing protecting, holding. It's the shield, but that knight is not stable.
Okay, but based on the computer's evaluation, it tells me the queen can't take that rook. Oh, because it was black's turn. That's why. I was going to say, you can't take that rook right now.
Judith was so brave saying knight. The black knight only had that one square to go to defend its rook, but again, Grant sees it all, and that fair trade. There were better moves. Black could have actually gone on the counterattack against the white king. There are ideas of trying to get the black queen in later, but this position still very level in the balance.
Queen slides down with a check. Now we have an offer for a trade here, coming from Grant Williams and Judith Polgar by sliding that queen back. The question is, do you want to take it? Fabiano and Tony end up electing for it. I don't know if that was Fabiano's intention, but ultimately queen was said, and Tony feels like I can get these queens off the board. Perhaps it provides a little bit of safety to my king that was previously shoved into the corner, but now we found ourselves into a minor piece endgame. It's a bishop apiece, a knight apiece, and then, of course, an equivalent number of pawns that are all operating on the same file as well. So this is starting to look akin to the previous Grant Williams and Judith Polgar game, where they wound up in an even endgame, but still manufactured a victory just by playing it calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, loving your pattern recognition there, James. Bishops, blocked pawn structure. That's how they won last time. Are they going to do it again?
And it just looks like the layout of the black pieces right now. They're defending their king. It looks to be a little bit better. The white king seems to be a little bit more out in the open, out in the wilderness, exposed right now. And that's why they're trying to bring that bishop forward, probably, to apply a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, well, so that white bishop targeting the pawn in the top right of your screen, of course, now locking down that knight because it has to stick there in defense unless it can find a way to trade pawns later on. So maybe, David, this is where you can talk to us about, okay, I'll first put you in Fabiano's position, Tony Snell's position for the white pieces. Which pawn are you targeting? Is it that one sitting in front of the king? That's the first priority?
Yes, 100%, and that is a great move there by Tony Snell. The white knight and white king attacking it. That's a double attack. You can only defend it once. There are no other pawns around it. That pawn has actually overextended, we would say. It's in enemy territory, and it's just going to get gobbled up.
Yep. Your only option to defend it would be to move that knight, and of course, in essence, drop a different pawn. So I think Judith and Grant, they recognize that that pawn is going to fall. They elect to make some progress with another one of their pawns there on the H-file, moving it forward. There we have the pawn snapped up. Now, do you like this trade of minor pieces? Do you want to go to opposite minor pieces where you're operating with the knight and your opponent has the bishop?
Well, this is a big question. I know Judith prefers her knights. She's one of those tactical players who are so good at jumping around, forking up enemy pieces, but bishops tend to be better than knights with pawns on both sides of the board, especially in an endgame, deep in the endgame like this. So taking that knight, probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I'd also be scared that at the time, all of my pawns were on the same color as that bishop of my opponent. So once again, pawns going forward. We'll see more leave the board. This is disconnecting our own pawn structure here for the black pieces, so that could be dangerous.
Not to mention all the black pawns have already been pushing forward. A lot of those white pawns have just remained stagnant along that second rank. So it's going to be a lot harder to get them into the game, to build them up from the current position.
Not just that, it also really makes it difficult for the white king to navigate. As more pieces come off the board, the king becomes a more and more powerful piece, and in fact becomes one of your strongest offensive pieces near the endgame. And in this situation, you can see those two black pawns preventing the white king from coming forward on the diagonals for right now. So it's going to have to make a longer trip to eventually get involved. So I'm right there with you. I do like the activity overall of the black king and everything, but this is still anyone's game.
Yeah, and actually a small mistake there from Tony Snell. He actually fixed his pawns on dart squares, the color of his opponent's bishop. The black bishop can actually now, in the very near future, come in and just swipe those pawns off the board. But that was missed by Grant Williams. This one, at the higher levels of chess, we would say all opposite color bishops. That tends to give drawish tendencies, but yeah, of course, this is still anyone's game, despite the black side being a pawn down here. Great move.
Wow.
In the meantime, attacking a pawn.
Fantastic find.
Double attack. Two pawns under fire. I think they're going to hold this one, Grant Williams and Judith Polgar. They're actually up 1 whole minute on the clock as well. And in blitz chess, we sometimes say a minute, it's worth a pawn.
And it can be, you know, basketball players of all people might be some of the better to again, be cognizant of the time, right? Obviously, when you get into late fourth quarter situations, you have to kind of always have some knowledge of where that clock is at. But I do wonder, I'll be curious at the end of the day to talk to these guys, were they really paying that close attention? Were they using that kind of peripheral awareness that they have on the court to really understand where they are in time pressure?
And as we've highlighted in basketball, you're afforded timeouts. You're afforded stoppages,
right.
Game plan to really make a calculated decision. And here, the time control, it's just sand in an hourglass, continues to trickle away. You don't have time to draw something up. I mean, again, unless these guys are playing footsie underneath the table that we don't know about, but assuming they're not, you have to make really snap decisions. And right now, it looks like Judith is pretty happy with their position at the moment.
Happy, but I am surprised that she went for the king move there, because I was right there with what you highlighted, David, that this would be the time to infiltrate with that bishop down behind the pawn chain and just start gobbling them up before the knight can make the long trip all the way to the other side of the board. She goes for the bishop now, but it looks like maybe Grant doesn't quite see it.
He didn't realize that this is a target. It's the base of the white pawn chain. It looks hidden. It looks like you can't really attack it, but there you could have gone in and behind. That's why bishops are better than knights in this type of position. But now these pawns getting traded as well.
Okay.
It looks like both sides are just running out of ammunition. They're running out of pieces.
Yeah, we might be going to our first tiebreak scenario. I don't want to call it too early. Still plenty can happen. But it's now moving in that direction.
Things are getting pretty tight. We're inside the 2-minute warning, if you will, for white. NBA title on the line for both of these guys. And again, a little bit more room to play with if you're Grant Williams and Polgar. So I kind of... They're probably happy. They're probably not trying to settle for a draw here. A chance, again, capitalize on that free pawn there to go up a piece.
Suddenly 1 minute up on the clock, one pawn up on the board. It still should be a draw with best play. If this was just Fabiano against Judith, it would be a draw because white could hold the light squares. Black cannot break through on the light squares with the dark square bishop. But this is really difficult for Tony to defend. This is going to be torture for the rest of the game.
Do you consider, I was going to say right before that bishop was there, maybe bringing the knight to C3, have a chance of collecting a pawn, creating a more symmetrical board?
Yeah, I think given the time, that's the next move now. Now that the white king's on a safe square, the white knight is going to go pawn hunting. Still defending very, very well. I have a feeling, unless this is decided on the clock, Tony's been playing so well that he's still going to hold this position.
Yeah, everything's getting locked up. That dark squared bishop can't threaten anything because all of his opponent's pieces are sitting on light squares.
It's just so high quality. I can't get over it. I didn't know what to expect coming into today, but this is so impressive.
This takes me back to old school basketball where you're just posting around the block. This is 80s basketball right now. This is Drew Gooden entering out of the womb, born in the 80s. This is just, hey, we're going to condense the floor right here. The heck with the three-point line. Let's bring this down underneath the basket and get rough and dirty here.
Ooh, and Fabiano said knight. The one thing not to do is capture the black bishop. The white knight has to stay on the board. He takes it.
Okay.
And now black is winning.
Yeah, quick response with the king taking back. So now, of course, it's 2 pawns to 1 and a king that's going to have to try and escort one of those pawns across the board for a promotion. The computer says it's a completely won scenario, but it's not always that easy to find if you yourself are not a grandmaster.
And look at that, Derek Rose enjoying the moment. He knows this final might be decided here and now. The white king is being kicked back the whole way. Fabiano was the one who blundered. He said knight. He should have just said king. There was no way to make a mistake with the king move. But that trade means there's no blockade anymore. The black king is going to guard its pawn, shepherd it forward, and a new queen is about to be born.
They smell a little blood in the water right here.
This is just perfect chess right now. This is so instructive in terms of how to win king and pawn endgame here. That king finds its way into an escorting position. The queen now finds the promotion there. Still have to put an end to it.
And in the meantime, 31 seconds as well for Snell and Caruana as Judith Polgar here and Grant Williams about to take the Chesstival title, at least in the head-in-hand section. Black wins.
There it is. The handshake is extended, and our first ever, the inaugural head-in-hand champions here at the Chesstival in Las Vegas 2025. It's Grant Williams and Judy Polgar.
I should have said knight, taking that bishop is...
What a
I thought
showing.
king d6 was almost winning because you had to say knight,
Yeah.
and then knight is dangerous to capture.
Yeah, we shouldn't... If we just wait, they can't do anything. If we just move our
Yeah,
knight
I'm
around,
just trying to
it's
get
really
a
tough
handheld
to
mic.
defend like that. We were also low on time.
It was a long time.
That's why I kept moving past it. Right? Just like every time I saw,
No,
I was
our
keeping
key,
that.
our key thing was the time management. He was playing very well in time.
Yeah. Once you guys got knight g4, then we were on the back foot. Before that, I mean, when I said pawn, I wanted to push this pawn forward.
Yeah.
So then I had
Yes, I'm just trying to get it.
Once I saw this pawn team, I said,
I didn't see it.
knight here.
Yeah, then we were back in business when
Down
we
a
were
pawn.
able
Down a
to.
pawn.
But I shouldn't have said knight because I wasn't sure what to say at that point. I should have said pawn again.
Yeah, because you started to, you just played so well.
One bad move.
He got a bit emotional talking about how he's had this idea for a few years, even tried to make it happen. It didn't come to fruition, but what it means for him to finally get this thing up onto its feet, the NBA and the chess world colliding. And I hope that he feels this delivered. I feel like it delivered. We've been talking about it the whole way through. The level of chess on display today far exceeded my expectations, and you can see the smiles on their faces. At the end of the day, it's about having fun, and to me it looks like they've done just that.
Yeah, exactly. I heard whisperings of this potential event back a few months ago. I heard Derek Rose, he was tuning into the broadcast. He wanted to make this happen, and it's so nice to see dreams come true here. And I think Derek's going to have a few things to say in the Blitz tournament later. He's going to be trying to make amends for his first round defeat here. But yes, it's so nice to see everyone enjoying themselves so much.
And I like